Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Kaboom! Are we heading to a retirement crisis with the latest EPF withdrawal?
Exactly.
Guys, stay tuned to find out. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another edition of GE Lifesavers podcast. My name is Joe Raj,
And I'm Aaron G.
and today we are going to address a very growing concern about our retirement, Aaron.
Exactly. There's so much of buzz on our EPF withdrawal recently, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. I mean,
so-
look, guys, we are all going to retire soon. There's no way that we can escape retirement. And our retirement fund is the EPF.
Correct.
And with the multiple withdrawals done by the EPF recently, there is a growing concern that we may not have enough money for our retirement.
Right. Now, for last year, there is a historical withdrawal of 99.5 billion.
Lot of
Right.
money.
Now, why is that a big thing, right? Because it's the first time of the history of EPF, Joe, that the withdrawal surpassed the contribution amount almost 2 times. You're talking about 53.9 billion versus 99.5 billion.
My goodness, that's a historic first.
It's never happened before.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a big thing.
Yeah. So
Right.
tell me, Evan, with the withdrawals of 10,000, right?
Mhm.
When we sit down and we talk to our clients, right?
Mhm.
We introduce the concept of time value and money.
That's right.
Now, 10,000 withdrawal from the EPF
Mm.
doesn't mean that you actually lose net 10,000 in terms of savings.
Exactly.
There is an element of compounding that we explain to our clients, and
Exactly.
probably something that we can also explain to our viewers.
One of the
here.
wonders of in the financial world is the law of compounding interest,
Right,
right?
right.
We all know this,
Right.
right?
Mm.
And so it simply says that if your money you put in the bank and you give it a certain amount of interest,
Mhm.
there is going to be a calculation or a way of knowing that that money can be doubled in a period of time,
Right,
right?
right.
So now, point to make is 10,000 ringgit, right? So
Right.
this 10,000 ringgit, let's take an assumption if you're 30 years old, Joe, right? You're 30, and you put this 10,000 into EPF, assuming EPF, gives you 5% a year. So you're talking about when you reach a retirement age of 60,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
The same 10,000 that you
Mhm.
put,
Mhm.
right, 30 years ago
Mhm.
will be worth 45,000.
Right,
Right?
Right.
So that's what we call about time
Yeah.
value money, right?
right.
So it has grown, right?
It
So
does,
you're
it
talking
does.
about 4.5 times,
right.
right?
Right.
So that's why people say, you should start saving early.
Yes.
Of course, they don't tell you why or they don't tell you the mechanism, right? But this is the reason, the law of compounding interest,
Yeah.
right? So you don't have to work for it. You don't have to run. You just put it there and watch it grow, right? So now, if you have taken this money out
Mm.
prematurely,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Mm.
So you have lost that advantage of time value money,
I see.
right?
I see.
So
Okay.
guys, if you have to make ends meet,
Mm.
right? If you're talking about, without this 10,000 ringgit, I can't put food to my children.
Mm.
That's absolutely a different story,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But for
Yes.
those who wants to jump on the bandwagon,
Mm.
because let's be honest, how often you're allowed to withdraw from EPF,
Mm.
right? So sometimes some of us will have some, really creative ideas,
Correct.
right, on how to spend the money.
Correct.
So I think this video or what we're trying to do is to just tell people, hey, right, think about a second,
Mm. Mm.
right? You take out this 10,000 ringgit and you spend in that holiday that you want to or the
Mm.
car you want to, you're going to lose 4.5 times of its value.
Wow.
So it says not 10,000 ringgit.
The way that we calculate this, guys, is actually through an app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this app is available in any smartphone. It's called a TVM app. It looks like this, and you guys can download it. and calculate it yourself. Now, if you need help and guidance,
Yeah.
then commercial time, DMS, and we will assist you. And if you find value in what we're talking so far, smash that like button. Let's get back to our point. You're talking about losing 4.5 times.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
Let's assume like you say, look, I take out my money right now, right? It's going to take you at least about 2 years to
Right.
recoup it back.
Wow, that's a long time. That's really a long
I
time.
mean, for a short period of gratification, you're going to spend 2 years to recoup back whatever you've taken.
Wow.
Now, just to a point to make, the three withdrawals you're talking about. You're talking about iLestari, iCitra, and
Isina.
right? So EPF has mentioned an average withdrawal of these three. If let's say they've taken all the three campaigns, right? An average withdrawal will be roughly about 20,000, right? And it will take about 2.5 years, assuming that you're earning about 3,000 a month right now.
Right.
It will take you 2.5 years to recoup back that 20,000, and you're talking about only capital. Yeah?
Wow.
Exactly. Exactly. So
I'm already overwhelmed.
yeah. So just a recap on this point: you take out 10,000 right now, you're gonna lose 4.5 times, right? By the time you're 60 years old, assuming that you're 30 right now, right? Now, if for the same 30-year-old, right, and if you're taken, if you have participated in the three campaigns, right, you will be roughly taking out about 20,000 ringgit, right? Basically, if you say, look, if I want to recoup it back, I want to put my money back so that my retirement fund remains intact at the age of 60, it's going to take you at least 2.5 years to get it back, and even that you will lose the interest.
The next point. Wow. Now, we were talking about 10,000 ringgit per withdrawal, right? But I read somewhere that half the Malaysian workforce only has about 10,000 in their account.
So that's the scary part, Joe, right? Even though EPF is a social blanket for Malaysians, with regards to retirement across the board,
right?
But not all of us are equal in terms of having access to a good retirement, right? So if 50% of Malaysians are only having that amount, so can you imagine what's going to happen, right? To put it into perspective, EPF has set a certain standard, Joe. Right. So they are saying that every Malaysian should target to have at least 240,000 ringgit in their EPF by the age of 55.
Okay.
Now, okay. Number looks good.
Okay.
Right. So what does it mean, Joe? Right. So how does it fan out for an average Malaysian like you and me? Yeah. So again, we use the TVM calculator, right? And we can calculate, right? Assuming, average Malaysian retire at 60, and they have a mortality rate of 20 years, which means you'll live for another 20 years after retirement. And let's assume that the FD rate remains 1.9%, right? So that 240,000 amortized over 20 years, which means that an average Malaysian would have 880 ringgit a month for his or her retirement. That's what EPF is saying.
That's below minimum wage announced by the government.
Exactly. And you're not talking about inflation, Joe.
That's right. So it's like when I retire, I'm going to be bloody poor, man.
You will be not only poor, Joe, with the recent revise of the minimum wage.
Yeah.
You'll be considered a hardcore poor.
Correct. I know.
I mean, just imagine working for 30 years. And assuming that you diligently follow what EPF is saying and you get that 240,000, right? You automatically fall into hardcore poor.
Wow. Now, I know this can be very overwhelming and very concerning, but guys, this is not the end of the show. What we would like to do is not just to decipher the ticking time bomb, but we also have come with a message of hope. Because it's better for us to find out now and make preparations now itself, than finding out when we are 60 years old.
Exactly. The saying goes, as the saying goes, that the best person to help your older self is your younger self, which is you.
Yeah.
Right?
So ask yourself, what would your older self want you to do? So this is what we suggest right now. I think the first thing is that all of us who are in financial quandary
Mm.
should actually ask for help. I think that's the most simplest thing, right?
Absolutely, Joe. Because it's always good to ask for help.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
The faster, the better.
Right.
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 So now, nobody knew how to handle COVID. Right. Not even the government.
Right.
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 Not even in well-developed countries. Everybody. Right. So there's no shame in this.
Correct.
Right. So I think the best place to start is to always start tracking your expenses.
Right.
You see,
Right.
in my experience, Joe,
Mhm.
a lot of people, they have mental figures in
Right.
their mind of
Mhm.
what they're earning and what they're spending
Mm.
and how much they ought to save,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But the truth is, the actual reality can be very far off.
That's right.
Right.
That's absolutely right.
And why is that so? Because for most people, it's blissful not to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's reason why if you want to make changes in your financial situation, you always need to track where your money is going.
Right.
Make sure you plug all the holes, right? That's causing all these leakages, right? So there is a lot of ways to do this.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we have a lot of productivity apps which tracks your expenditure,
Right.
correct? So you can get that and consciously track.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's a bit I would know it's a bit tedious, at least in the beginning, right? But the app allows you to do it easily because you're able to snap and it is able to collate the information into one summary,
Mhm.
giving you awareness,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Day to day, month to month, right?
Right.
And
Right.
some of these apps even gives you tips,
Right.
right, on how to manage your funds, right?
Right.
So all this gives you more data, right, and opportunity, of course, Joe, to make those necessary.
So guys, I think there's no shame in coming forward
Exactly.
to ask for help. I think there's AKPK and there are other bodies available for counseling too.
Right.
On top of getting yourself familiarized with the apps that Evan just mentioned. Frankly speaking, let's be very honest, we all are affected by the pandemic. No one is spared. So there is no shame in saying that.
Exactly.
Don't keep things to yourself. Don't carry the load on yourself. Think of your loved ones, walk together, share the load.
And guys, you'd be surprised, right, that the solution is much more easier than you think.
That's right.
So it's always good to reach out. Now, another example, right? Maybe some of you say, "Hey, I don't want to take that huge jump,
Right.
right?" But one of the ways I would say that is good is to look for your friends, right? Who are better
Mm.
in financial planning, right? And have a conversation with
Right.
them. Over a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Buy
That's
them lunch or dinner, right? And and
Pick their brain.
Exactly,
Pick their
exactly.
brain, converse with them.
Exactly.
There is no shame to actually ask questions. There is no stupid questions, guys.
Exactly.
A question is a question.
Exactly.
When someone told, a wise man told me, knock and the door shall be open to you.
Exactly.
So you got to ask in order to get the answer.
Exactly. And guys, if you have questions and you want to have certain answers, or maybe you want to have a second opinion, right? You can always DM us here. So the ball is on your court, right, to make the difference.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. So the first thing is to get help. Now the second point, I believe, is to consolidate our debts.
Okay. Now that's another big area,
Yeah,
Joe,
right.
because Malaysians, we are known to have high household debts, right? So we have an excess of 85% debt as versus to GDP.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
what that simply means is that for every 1 ringgit that you earn, Joe, 85% or 85 cents is used to pay your debt.
We love to borrow money, don't we?
So we all are living on future money, right? So that's a bit alarming,
Right.
Now, having to say so, right? There's always a silver lining, right? So you can actually right now, because now our interest rates are low, right? We're able to restructure your high interest loans to term loans.
So what you're saying is do a bit of homework.
Exactly.
Research what are the latest financial packages
Exactly.
that's offered by the banks.
Exactly.
And go and talk to them and renegotiate your rates.
Example, your credit card loans.
Right.
And guys, it's 1.5% a month, right? So you're saying that 1.5%, no, so it's 18% a year. Right. But if we actually look at the compounding effect of this interest, the net is 19.5%.
That's right.
So at that kind of rate, you can't survive, right? You'll be just ending up paying up your debts month on month, right? So it only makes sense to convert it into a term loan. Usually it's between 5 to 7%. Guys, there's a lot of places where they offer you this, right? So stop the bleeding.
Yes.
Right. First thing is stop the bleeding.
Plug the hole.
Yeah.
And settle all your debts sooner than later.
Exactly. So by having a lower interest, guys, you are able to pay off the capital faster. That's about it.
That's right. We agree.
Yeah, because 1.5% a month over a year, 19%, that's not going to stop the bleeding. It's going to make it worse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and it's similar to your housing loan too, right? If some of you guys, maybe took up a housing loan 5 to 10 years ago, the interest rates back then and now is different.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think that's something that all of us need to research immediately.
Right.
To the banks, they just want you to consistently pay your mortgage loans, right? They, as long you pay, they're happy.
Yeah.
So what you can do is look around and see whether you can get a better, financial loan packages for your mortgage, and just renegotiate with your bank.
Exactly. And guys, this is one of the ways you can free up your cash flow, right? Because usually your housing loan it takes up a big chunk.
That's right.
Of your salary, right?
Yes,
so obviously by doing a restructure, that you'll be able to free up your cash flow, right?
Correct.
Which can be used to pay other debts.
That's right.
Especially credit card debts.
Yes.
Or even additional cash flow for unexpected expenses.
Correct.
So either way, it actually gives you more purchasing power.
Correct.
Right. So that's the whole idea.
Good point, Evan. I think that I hope you found some value in that point over there. Now, coming to our last point, if you guys are withdrawing, if you've already got your EPF money, not withdrawing anymore, the period is over. If you've got your EPF money, please use it for good use,
Exactly. You see, if you have a plan, right, and you know what you're doing,
right,
it's fine. Right. But my concern is, Joe, you see, the recent months, there's so much of advertisements, right, on forex, crypto,
that's right,
options, and or some interesting investments opportunities, right? Now, look, it's nothing wrong, right? But if that 10,000, if you belong in that category whereby 10,000 is all that you have, then my advice is to avoid all risky investments.
Correct. Please keep that for your own important essential expenses.
Exactly. So if you're on the big boys league, you got money coming from left, right, center, then obviously this message is not for you. But for those out there, right, who wants to have a better retirement fund, and you're building up from scratch, you might not want to risk this 10,000 ringgit at this point of time, right?
Correct.
And for those who says, hey, maybe I need a new car, right? Because the government is giving a sales tax of 6% sales tax, right? And it's time to get a new car. I advise you to reconsider that.
Right.
Because buying a car is considered a non-income generating expense,
Correct.
which means that you don't get anything, right? And your car is devaluing with money,
Yeah.
right? So can you imagine, going back to the first point, right? You pay 10,000 for a down payment for your car, and you get the car and you're happy, right? But on the other hand, you're losing 4.5 times of your retirement fund of the 10,000. So you see, it doesn't really help.
It's a real mismatch.
It's a mismatch, guys. So if your car is moving fine and everything is good, keep your car, right? Yeah, of course, having a good car is always nice, but consider the pros and cons.
Correct. And also, be vigilant. There's a lot of scammers out there. They know that the withdrawals have been approved and they know that you have money. So they will come for you, and they'll come with a lot of get rich quick schemes. There is no such thing as get rich quick scheme, guys. You don't get rich overnight. You work hard for it, And the whole idea of GE Lifesavers doing this show is to put on a message of hope that we can pull this through together. So with that, just 3 takeaway points. Please make sure that you seek help or financial help if it's necessary. Secondly, consolidate all your debts, do your research, find out what is the best packages in the market to renegotiate with the banks, especially on your mortgage loans. And on the third part, the money that you have received, please only use it for your essential. So we'll be back again soon. Until then, this is Joe Raj.
And I'm Aaron G.
And we wish that all of you have a great week ahead. Take care. Bye.